Okay, welcome fight fans to another live stream with us here at Fight Night Scores. We're bringing to you another watch and score live stream featuring Big Fish Vega and Josh from 86 Boxing. I'll introduce them to you in a minute. Make sure you stick around with us. We're going to be covering a really controversial fight this week from back in 2013, I believe. Paulie Malignaggi versus Adrian Broner. Really close and really controversial fight. We'll see how we all compare scorecards in a little while. Before that, we'll cover some of the recent fights and events of the last couple of weekends since we last did a live stream. And then we'll get into the fight. And then after that, we will discuss some of the big upcoming fights in the next couple of weeks. There's some instructions coming up on the screen, how you can take part and join in with us. There might be a slight issue if you do join us. You register, you go to the group, you use the code on the screen. It might say that you don't have authorization to view the page, but don't worry about that. You should still be connected to the group. And we can continue. So let's introduce the boys as usual. Josh from 86 Boxing. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, doing well. Hope all is well on your end. Happy to be here again. Looking forward to this fight because I hadn't watched it previously, but I know very well that it was controversial.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also got Alex Big Fish Vega on the line as well. How you doing, Alex?
Good day to you, Jim, to Josh, and everybody following along here. I am looking forward to this fight. I remember watching it when it first came out, so yes, very excited to rescore it.
Cool, man. I'm like Josh. I don't recall seeing the fight, whether I rewatched it, but I definitely didn't watch it live. I might have rewatched it after the fact, but it was quite a while ago. Can't remember a lot from back then. I know we got a few people that have joined us already. It's great to have you on board. Feel free to join in the group chat and we'll interact with you along the way. And so that should be quite interesting and fun. Okay, let's actually just crack on with stuff because it's going to be quite a busy stream, this one. We've got a few fights to get through from the last couple of weeks. Starting on Saturday, July the 30th, so over here in the UK. We can just quickly touch on the Chris Smith versus Isaac Chamberlain bout that was down in Bournemouth on the south coast of England. Sounded like a pretty good atmosphere. There was a lot of hype around the event being on the beach and in the hometown of Chris Smith. It sounded like a good atmosphere and a good turnout. Chris Smith ultimately got the decision. It was quite a close fight. Did any of you two boys see this one? I'll go to you first, Josh.
Actually, I didn't check that one out. I've been meaning to go back and look at it, but I haven't as of yet, so I don't have a lot to offer in that regard.
Alright, no problem. How about you, Alex? Did you catch it?
Yeah, same thing. I've been trying to get the replay, but we got to purchase it here in the U.S. on fight.tv, so maybe I'll do that soon because I do want to take a look at it.
I understand. No worries. Well, I only caught bits of it in the background. It was fairly close, and I know Chamberlain suffered a pretty major eye injury, so and I think he earned a lot of credit as well, even though it was a loss. So I think they both come out of it quite well. Chris Smith obviously was the winner, and he'll go on to bigger and better things. I think we can just leave that one there and we can move on because we've got plenty of others to discuss. Same night then was the Danny Garcia Jose Benavidez Jr. card. Alex, do you want to just give us your thoughts on the main event, that fight, and how Garcia won and how he looked and what's ahead in future for him? Are you with us, Alex?
Oh, sorry. Looks like the storm is affecting my Wi-Fi. Apologies, I didn't catch where we are.
No problem. We're just going on to the Danny Garcia card from that same night as the Bill Smith event. Josh, did you see it? If you want to give your thoughts on it, and we'll come back to Alex. Hopefully you'll be able to catch up.
Cool. Yeah, I was able to check it out, and I thought that it turned out to be a pretty good fight for Danny Garcia overall. It was pretty much a wash for him. I had Jose Benavidez winning one round of the 12, and that one was not necessarily a 100% give me. I thought Danny Garcia looked great there at 154. Of course, the big thing is he was in with another individual in Benavidez who was coming up from 147. That said, if Danny Garcia is able to move the way he is able to move and outbox opponents in a similar fashion to the way he was able to do with Benavidez, and I think he could have some success there, but it's hard to see the full picture because Benavidez, much like his last several fights, he doesn't seem to have much movement, and I guess it stems from him being shot in his leg, but he seems to just kind of slowly pace forward, but really doesn't have any left to right movement, really front to back movement that is anything sharp. It's just a slow pacing forward, and he does a lot of bravado and machismo, but he doesn't throw many punches. And I think that was ultimately his downfall. So Danny Garcia looked good. He had been out for a while. He mentioned he was dealing with some mental health issues. So give him props for sharing that information and wish him good luck moving forward. But I give him a very high grade for what he was able to do given the opponent in front of him.
Yeah, cool. Fair enough. Sounds reasonable. Alex, hopefully you're kind of back with us. Do you want to give a quick assessment on Danny Garcia's performance the other weekend?
Yeah, sure. Josh covered it pretty well. Danny, he looked good against Jose Benavidez, who was not really given any looks to Danny to give him anything to complicate the fight. It'd be interesting where Danny goes from here. He mentioned Keith Thurman at 154. He mentioned Erislandy Lara at 155 for the WBA regular middleweight title. So it's gets interesting once a lot of these fighters have these championship fights over and over, going over weight divisions or collecting titles. They get to a point where they get real picky, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's not about taking on the best and the best. It's about finding names and adding to their quote unquote legacy, which honestly is a little disappointing to hear, but that is how the game seems to be, at least for the last decade that I've been paying attention to closely. So yeah, I'll be fine with either of those matchups, and I don't see Danny being a big time player at 154.
No.
It's just more of his name than his skills, and he'll have to prove me otherwise. But great performance.
Yeah, I agree on that. And I think on last weekend's podcast over on 86 Boxing with Josh, we kind of discussed that a little bit more in depth. Anyone tuning in here should go and check out 86 Boxing on YouTube. Really good channel with our very own Josh, who runs that one. Quick shout out then. I can see a few people are in the chat already. So we've got Beagle47. It's good to have you on board. Welcome. Along with Adam's Boxing Show as well. And also Boz is in again. So it's good to have you here again, Boz. Hopefully we'll get to see a scorecard this week. I've also just created a new scoring group, and I've updated the code required, so you two boys need to do this, Josh and Alex. If you are going to join us and you are going to registered and you're going to score along with us and you want to join the scoring group, you just need to go into the group section, and then near the top, or if you're on a mobile, it's right down at the bottom. Oh no, it's still at the top. You can join the group and you just need to enter the code. What is the code? I've just pasted it in somewhere. The code is 1F3656, so that is to join in our scoring group. And if you do join in, we'll then be able to get an average scorecard for all of us who are scoring the fight. So that would be pretty cool. So let's move along. If I can just find my sheet. What else was on that card? There was Gary Antoine Russell. He beat Ranzis Barthelemy. in I can't remember what round it was. He got the stoppage eventually. It was very controversial. Seemed premature to me. Alex, did you catch this fight? What did you make of it? What did you make of Russell's performance and his future prospects? And what about that stoppage?
So with our last stream, I specifically said I think Gary Antoine Russell was going to be the best 140 pounder. This performance, I don't think added to that at all.
Okay.
He did have a stern challenge. Bartholomew was a former 130 pound titleist, as well as having, I believe, a world or regular bout in WA at 135. He did have some nice quick counters. He made Gary Russell work, was catching him coming in. But Gary Russell, it seemed that he did figure it out, had that nice loop, jumping front hook. That stoppage, I think everyone can agree, is very controversial. He was a little bit unsteady on his legs, gets up, looks the referee around the eyes, looks like he has everything together, and referee stopped it. We can say that it looked like the stoppage was going to come, but he did deserve that opportunity to continue, and that was taken away. So that does take a little bit of esteem. That's 2 controversial stoppages in a row for Gary Antoine Russell.
Yeah.
Also happened in the Postal fight in the 10th round, where it was kind of similar. So I still going to support Gary Antoine Russell, but like I said, didn't really add to what I said. He's not proving my point, and I'm hoping next fight will do so.
Very good. It's definitely still one to keep an eye out for. Joshua, do you want to add anything to that? Your thoughts?
I think Vega was spot on. I believe Antoine Russell, he seemed to be really gunning for the knockout, and I think that did him a disservice in the early part of that fight, because he was throwing all caution to the wind, it seemed, and he was getting caught with a lot of stuff. The stoppage in itself was controversial. I would have let it gone on a little bit longer, because I felt that Bartholomew, he's been in there, he's been a champion, he deserved that right in some sense. But yeah, overall, I do think that I would believe that better days are to come for Gary Antoine Russell, and this was just one of those performances that it was exciting at moments, but definitely controversial in some sense. So I look forward to what he has coming up here in the future, though. Hopefully we get him in with some more opponents that continue to test him.
Yeah, definitely. All right. The other fight on that card that we discussed briefly last time out was Adam Kaunaki versus Adrien Demirizin. I think that's his name. I think Demirizin got that win. Did he get the stoppage? Was it a stoppage?
No, that was a unanimous decision.
Unanimous decision, sorry.
Demirizin.
Yeah. And again, going back to the podcast last week on 86 Boxing, we discussed that one. Kaunaki was kind of... I think at the end he seemed a bit down and out of whether that was going to be his last fight or whether he was going to want another fight and go out on winning ways. Alex, did you catch this fight? We'd never really heard of Demirizin before, but I know he was the favourite going into the fight, because that was a shock when I did look at the fighting odds. It was quite close in terms of the boxing odds, but I know he was the favourite going in, and he ended up getting the decision. Kaunaki's had quite a few losses now in a row. What do you think is the future for Kaunaki and also for Demirizin?
Yeah, that's 3 losses in a row. I just want to say I got all of my predictions correct. I don't know, maybe I'm becoming a prediction god. We're on that way. But anyways, yeah, Kaunaki, he started off really fast. I was again a little worried because, like I said, I did pick Demirizin. I put money on it, but Demirizin was able to stand his ground, use a little bit of his boxing pedigree. He was an Olympian, and really just stood his ground and with clean punching got that victory. And it was a pretty one-sided in regards to round by round win. With him taking a lot of those back end rounds. So. Yeah, Kaunaki stated that he would like to have one more. He'd like to go out on a win, possibly, I'm assuming, in the New York area, which is where he has his fan base and I believe where he resides. For Demirizin, man, Could he get maybe a Deontay Wilder returns fight? That could be some really big money. Of course, would I favor him? Absolutely not. I don't think he gets past the first rounds. But PBC does have a few heavyweights. So with this win, that is, he beat, Gerald Washington previously by knockout, and now he has Konaki. Konaki, I believe it's pronounced. Sorry. There you go. See Konaki. I see Baz. Sorry about that.
Baz is correcting us.
Yeah, man, I do apologize. So yes, I would say Konaki could retire, and Demirizin earned that chance to continue.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds fair enough. Okay, we'll leave that there. And I'll just we discussed that on the podcast last week, so we can continue. We've got last night's fight over in America, the main fight from last night, to quickly just go over before we jump into our scoring fight watch along. So last night it was Virgil Ortiz Jr. getting the win over Michael McKinson from the UK. I've not seen this fight, unfortunately. I've not seen any highlights or replays, so I can't really offer anything up on this one. So I'm going to just throw over to Josh. Give us your assessment of last night's performance.
Right, you broke up a little bit, but this is Ortiz versus McKinnon, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
All right, good to go. Yeah, I thought it was a good performance by Virgil Ortiz. I was interested in seeing how he would look. I know Vega mentioned this last time. Definitely when you start having those situations with weight, you never know how a fighter will ultimately pan out, especially if they're going back to a division where they seemingly struggled to make weight at. But that being said, he looked good. His body looked good. He looked like the Virgil Ortiz of old. McKinnon, he was really in there trying to box, and he had some good moments. He just, I believe, did not have enough pop to really offer anything to challenge Virgil Ortiz in a way that would push him back. So Virgil Ortiz was coming forward the entire night, and he was ripping punches to the body, which I think paid dividends for him. So I give him props for that. He has IQ, no doubt about it, because he was strategically making sure to tap up McKinnon's body throughout the fight. And ultimately, it paid dividends for him because it was body shots that actually took McKinnon out as he started to slow down in the latter portion of the fight. And you can see that McKinnon, he was 100% game, but I think it was the lack of real pop that proved to be his downfall. And for Virgil Ortiz, as I think we all probably sort of are sort of on the same page on, it, the sky's the limit, really. I mean, there's so many combinations of fights there at the top of 147 pounds that I think would just be good in general because of his style and the style of some of the others there. I would ultimately love to see a Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz fight, but both of them I know want to get a title shot. So sky's the limit for him. So we'll see what happens. But great performance by Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be interesting to keep an eye on where he goes. What's next? There's some pretty big fights on, and interesting fighters at that welterweight division. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing how all of that unfolds. I think that covers it for the fights that we've discussed then on the previous podcast. I think we can move straight on to our fight that we're going to watch and score now. That's what everyone's here for. So again, just a quick reminder that if you are joining in with us, you need to be a registered member to actually join the group. You don't have to be a registered member to score this fight or any other fights that are on the Fight Night score system. But if you are registered, you do unlock some additional features, and obviously you get a record of all of your previous scorecards historically. So it is probably worthwhile if you're interested in scoring fights and you do so regularly. Once you are registered and logged in, there is a group section which you can navigate to from the menu, and in there you can join a group using a code. So if you open that up the box to join a group and enter the code 1F3656 and click join or enter, you should then be able to be in our group. And then if you want to go to this fight to create a scorecard, there is a link on the screen. That's a short link. There is also a link in the chat at the start, and I can paste it in again, possibly here. But yeah, another way to find the fight is if you go from the menu into the fight list and go to the second to last page, which is page 44, I believe. You'll find this fight down there, and it was in 2013, so just have a look for that date. I've just posted it into the group chat for anyone that wants a quick link to the fight as well to create your scorecard. Okay, so let's get an introduction. Hopefully Alex has prepared a bit of background for this fight. Take it away for us, Alex, and I'll get us set up.
I always have something prepared because this is one of my
Good
favorite parts. So, first we'll go with Adrian the Problem Broner. In this fight, he's about 23 years old, hails from Cincinnati, Ohio. Same gym as Ricardo Williams Jr. and Dante Craig, if you recognize those names, because they were 2000 U.S. Olympians. He's a former WBO super featherweight champion as well as WBC lightweight champion. Oh. Can you hear me? Oh, okay, sorry. The music had stopped. It had distracted me. Apologies. So he comes in this bout 26-0 with 22 knockouts, stopping his last 6 opponents, and he's 3-0 with 2 KOs against former and current champions. Now on to the champion in this fight, Paulie Malignaggi, 32 years old, from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, New York, former IBF junior welterweight champion and the WBA welterweight titleist, coming off of one defense. He was named the Ring Comeback of the Year in 2007. He was defeated by Miguel Cotto 2006, came back with 2 wins, one being over Lovemore and Dew, I believe it's pronounced. It's 32-4 with 7 KOs, riding a 5-fight winning streak with 2 by stoppage. There we go.
Excellent. That is the background to both fighters coming into this fight. Let's get straight into it then. If everyone hopefully has joined the group, if they want to join the group, they found the fight to score it on their website, their phone, their tablet, and we are good to go. So I will just make sure that the volume isn't too loud once we get into it. We've got a very quick intro and I think we're straight into the fight. Maybe not quite straight into the fight, but hopefully. Let's just skip it on. There we go. Okay, so if you're new to the stream, we're going to be watching round by round. You can see it on the screen. We'll take a pause after a couple of rounds and just kind of check out how we're scoring it in comparison to each other, maybe as a group as well. And we'll discuss the fight as it goes.
So this fight did take place 2013, June 22nd. We are in Brooklyn, New York in the Barclays Center.
Now, do you recall, Alex, you may have mentioned it, was this Broner's first or second fight at 147, something like that?
So yes, this is actually his first fight at 147.
Okay.
He had just defeated Antonio DeMarco.
Yeah.
Decided he was chasing Ricky Burns. Ricky Burns moved up to 140 and decided, all right, fine, let me jump to 147.
Gotcha.
He jumped up a couple of divisions, hasn't he, at this point?
2 divisions.
Fairly quickly, yeah. Because he was undefeated. He was like a monster puncher, wasn't he, down at that lower weight, blasting everyone out. I think he had a pretty good KO record.
26-0, 22 KOs. Yeah, he was really just, just vicious body puncher, and he was seen as the next quote-unquote Mayweather with his Philly shell defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recall that. I guess time has shown that move to 147 wasn't really planned out properly, at least.
If you ask me, too many yes men in that camp. Nice jab.
Definitely. It's been a good start from Paulie in this first half of this round. Not a notable puncher by any stretch, but he was always pretty accurate, wasn't he?
Yeah, you know, you got to give it to those guys who don't have much pop. They usually have to do it, I guess you could say, the hard way, in the sense that they're usually going the distance each time out. So you really have to work and hone on your skills in order to be able to do that, especially when you're taking on varying styles.
Boz mentioned there in the chat that this is one of Paulie's famous hairstyles.
Oh yeah,
He always had to
Change
have.
it every fight.
He always had to have something weird, didn't he? Was this
we
before?
need a montage or something to show all of his different hairstyles.
I'm not sure if this would have been before or after the time where they had to cut his hair in the ring because it was getting in the
This is
way.
definitely after. I remember that.
Yeah.
After that,
It was at the dreadlock phase.
It's really nice body work by Paulie. He really has a nice little right-left combination down there. It's been landing every time almost.
yep.
It looked like
Yeah, Paulie was always technically sound as a fighter. I give him that.
kind of towards 45 seconds, Broner started to up it a little bit because he knew that Paulie was definitely winning that round. Maybe he was trying to steal it, but I don't think he's done enough. So that's round one over. Get your scores in. So scores out of 10. Your winning margin as a percentage, how close the round was. And then select a reason from the list why it was won. Or drawn if you've gone that route. But Josh won't be happy. So you guys in the stream chat, if you're scoring and watching, let us know how you saw the round. So Beagle's gone with Paulie, like I have. Effective and accurate punching. That's a very reasonable shout.
Yep.
Same for Boz. Good man.
So that right, left to the body, just landing clean. Those are scoring shots, you know. He's literally just standing there letting him do it, acting like it's nothing, but
Yeah.
I think he might have blocked one or two, but this, some did land. That's a nice right over the top.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. As we see, one of the things that is constantly plagued Broner's career is his lack of activity in the fight, actually, in terms of just his offensive output. It seems it's gone down and down as the years have gone on.
you see that counter right. Broner he releases it so fast and so accurate. You could tell it's just tough to see it coming, tough to pick it up.
Yeah.
Gosh.
No question, he was a talented fighter, or he is a talented fighter, and he's very good as an amateur as well. So he had a lot of experience.
Yeah, his amateur record was 319. He won silver gloves back-to-back years, 02, 03. So yeah, definitely had that pedigree.
I remember he did have a lot of hype about him, and up until this point, he was proving it, weren't he? He was obviously a lot of people thought he was too flashy and too arrogant and whatnot, but he was doing the business in the ring, and then obviously we know what happened in the next fight, and then subsequent years, it's kind of not gone as planned, but up until this point, he was all hype. Getting a bit
That
feisty.
was a very interesting round.
Yeah, it was.
Because you could say Broner landed about maybe 7 very clean shots, and Paulie landed maybe 20-something punches again.
Yeah, a little bit more on Broner's punches for sure.
Yeah. I'd go along with that, to be honest. So we'll go through till the end of round 4 before we take a pause. In that meantime, I need to check that this other group's loaded up okay, and I will investigate the reason why the other group didn't work at some point later.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we got people in this other group. That's cool. We should be good.
Paulie entered this fight as a 7.5 to 1 betting underdog, even though he was a number 6 ranked welterweight.
Oh, what happened there then?
Yeah, that shows the height that was behind Broner.
Broner himself was ranked number 6 on a pound-for-pound list by the ring. So, yes, number 1 lightweight, jumping up 2 weight classes, and huge betting favorite.
I mean, you say that, but looking at them both, you wouldn't think that Broner was the one that's moved up. He looks huge still, doesn't he? Just touching on the group chat, Boz said in that second round, Broner landed some good shots, but Paulie was busier. Beagle agrees with Boz, so it looks like they might have scored that one for Paulie.
Definitely a swing round to go back to later.
Yeah. Now it's opened up a bit more this round. Broner's definitely busier.
Yeah.
I think he's possibly like a underrated Paulie, and now he knows he's kind of in a fight.
Nice shot.
Nice exchange. It's kind of reverted back to how it was, Paulie doing a lot of the work, Broner's moving forward, not doing much, and then he'll unleash a couple of pretty crisp shots that land.
And at this stage, Paulie had been in his career been in with a lot of solid offensive fighters.
Yeah. He just landed a pretty vicious left hook there right at the end.
Yeah.
That could have been the it that decided the round. Here we go, Sab Judah.
Who's that?
I know Paulie faced Judah. Did Broner face him as well?
Broner did not.
No. Okay.
No.
I actually went to that fight, Zab Judah versus Paulie Malignaggi.
Oh,
It
cool.
actually took place in the Barclays.
Cool.
Okay, I just realised I didn't put my score in. That was a tough run to score.
I felt like it started how it ended, with a clean Broner left hand, left hook.
Are you trying to influence my decision?
Just trying to provide you with facts, sir.
Okay, Boz has gone for Paulie's business. Broner with the hardest shot. So he's got a clean sweep to Paulie Malignaggi after 3 rounds. So it's quite interesting.
Story of the fight for sure.
That was a nice combination there from Paulie. Beagle says tough round, gave it to Broner, very close.
See, Broner's being very reactive, being choosy when he wants to, but
Yeah.
when Paulie was younger, he definitely used a lot of more footwork than he is using now. You know, being 32 years old, going up in weight, you know, of course, the legs just aren't the same.
Oh, that's a nice right. Ah, man, this is same kind of round again, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, that's a nice little combination there.
Yeah. Broner is so interesting. He's, you know, stalking, but yet always keeping that weight on the back. Always looking to counter that right.
No, you're right.
You know, Paulie with just some lateral movement definitely could get around that, throw combinations, make it a lot easier. But like I said, the foot speed just isn't there anymore. That's why he's doing that body attack instead.
I think that was a good round for Paulie. I'm going to go with Paulie in that one.
Indeed.
And is that the end of round 4? I believe it is.
It is.
So we shall take a pause momentarily. So Boz is in pretty quick. He's scored another round to Paulie Malignaggi. So he's got it 4-0. Okay, let's take a pause there. Let's do some scoring analysis. Let's see if we can get that up. There we go. Let's have a look at our combined scorecard. So this includes Beagle's scorecard, who's joined the group along with us. Thank you for doing that. So we have 4 judges instead of 3. And this is how we see it. So round 1, we've given it to Paulie Malignaggi, 10-9. That's how I scored it as well. Quite a clear round. You know, it looks like people were giving it 60-40 mostly, and he was more active and landing the more effective shots. In round 2 and round 3, they both went to Broner. The percentages a lot closer, and they were closer rounds, as we discussed. Broner landed the cleaner and the more effective shots, and in round 3 he had that significant left hook, which is the reason I chose. Somebody else must have chosen that as well. And then in that last round, Malignaggi's best round of the fight so far, I'd say, although it looks like he had a bigger percentage in the first round. But there you go, that's how it felt. He was more active and landing the cleaner shots. So Baz had it all for Malignaggi, which was interesting. It looks like others, the rest of us kind of preferred Broner's more telling shots, if you want to call it that. He was landing, I guess, the more eye-catching shots rather than Malignaggi's more activity. So the average scorecard there is 2-2, 38-38. I personally got it 2 rounds each as well on my card. The same as the shared scorecard as well. We'll go straight back to the fight. Next time we can have a look at the round by round possible breakdown. We'll see. Continuing on. And before we get back to it, let's have a look at the group chat and catch up. Beagle said that 4th round was Paulie's round. Alex Big Fish Vega, I could see that. Cool.
Interesting and useless fact: Adrian Broner is a twin has a twin named Andre, which is my middle name, as well as we share the same birthday, month, date, and year.
Wow.
Interesting.
So is it me? I don't know.
That is a useless fact. Thank you, Alex. Beagle 47 in the chat says 2 was a swing for me. I may have to watch it again. Give it to Paulie. But okay. So what are your scorecards then, Josh and Alex? Have you got it 2-2 as well, or 3-1, or what?
I have it 3-1 Paulie at the moment.
3-1 Paulie, okay.
Yeah, I have 2-2, and I agree with Beagle. Round 2 was definitely a swing round.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and 3 with that significant punch combo that almost changed my mind
Mm-hmm.
in terms of what Broner was able to do. But I did like Paulie's activity.
That's a good point, to be fair. I mean, that definitely that round, Paulie was the busier and he was landing more. It's just that was the main thing that stood out for me, and whether that then means he wins the round, I don't really know. But in my eyes, yeah.
Yeah, there's no question that the punches that look like they hurt are coming from Broner.
Yeah.
Broner's countering effectively with his right hand this round. He's landed about 3 or 4 already clean.
Yeah.
He's looking like he means business a bit more, Broner, doesn't he? He's not.
This is the busiest he's been all fight.
Yeah. Not messing around now.
Yeah, and I think this is what a lot of people sort of lean back towards when they think about Broner and his offensive output, when he's really putting his punches together.
Yeah.
See Broner talking to him.
He looks so good when he does that. And you just wonder why he often takes them breaks. Oh, he doesn't do much.
They believe he told him, "You can't hit me." He might want to reevaluate that because he's probably landed 70 body shots already.
Yeah.
Right hands,
some
double
good
right hands.
Good shots at the end there. Well, I guess that might be the clearest round so far. In my mind, anyway.
I'd agree.
Some nice spinning action going on there. Why did the ref kind of pull him away? And did he call break or something?
I think he was gonna warn him for throwing that little punch from over his shoulder when he was spinning.
Elbow. Beagle says elbow. Possibly an elbow. Who knows? Sounded like Mayweather was getting some cheers there.
So yeah.
Which is
Sitting
quite
next to
quite
Robert
a
Diaz,
surprise.
the Golden Boy matchmaker.
Oh yeah, that is right.
See, Paulie's not able to get off that body combination as much as he could before. Broner's definitely giving him a little bit more movement. Instead of just plowing his feet down, Broner's moving forward still and obviously moving his hands more.
Yeah, this round's kind of. Broner's still a little bit more active than he had been, but not quite as active as the previous round, I don't think. Paulie's landing them fast shots, not doing too much damage, but they are landing, they are scoring. Beagle says that Broner's power and weight advantage seems clear, and that's like we said a bit earlier on, that he looks like the bigger man, not the man that's jumped up in a few weight classes. So,
This is exactly what Broner wants. This is what he did the past couple fights. He'd walk you down, bang you to the body, and counter you up top. It really is a sight to see. He's very crisp.
Yeah, when he wants to and he wants to go for it, he is clearly, a level or two above Paulie, isn't he? Oh, nice uppercut there. But then you've got Malignaggi's kind of grit and determination. That kind of levels things out a bit. He's landed that quite a few times, hasn't he, now, that double right hand?
Yeah.
Paulie definitely needs to keep this in the center of the ring and do just that.
Yeah.
Does not use his legs at all. Doesn't pivot. Makes it very easy if you just throw combinations.
It's another big round for Broner, that. I think, watching this live, he's starting to feel like Broner's getting some momentum, and he's finding Paulie a bit more, and you wouldn't expect it to last. So Boz has now got it 58-56, so I'm guessing he's got the last couple to Broner. Power is the big difference, he says, and that is indeed true.
Trained by Eric Brown. Who at the time was trading, if anyone remembers, middleweight champion Peter Quillen.
Kid Chocolate.
That's right. Probably the first time I've seen Paulie really try to work behind that jab. nice. That left
Yeah,
hook.
he
landed
does
very
good work when he's using his jab for sure.
Interesting scores down there at the bottom of the screen, unofficial. 2 that were even, I think, and then Hopkins had Broner ahead. I'm seeing it like Bernard Hopkins is. He knows what he's talking about.
Agreed.
Oh, nice uppercut inside there.
Man, you watch how crisp he is, and you just know how his career is gone. And you're just thinking, how? Why?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's true for sure.
And of course, you can say this is a bit of a diminished Malignaggi if you've watched any of his previous fights, but still to jump up 2 weight classes, that's very difficult to do.
Definitely.
Nice right hand. Leaping right. My biggest thing is why is Paulie not attempting to give him any side-to-side movement?
It's like, that was weird. Broner just like kind of there like a punching bag, like whatever. Malignaggi's like, yeah, I can do some shit as well.
And we've seen about, what, 3 of those sneaky right uppercuts by Broner?
Yeah.
Yeah, they come pretty quick.
Another round over. That went so quick. What's going on? Boz says this one's tough to score. I agree. I think that was quite a tough one. I mean, you've just got them crisp shots by Broner that are more the eye-catching. They must be the more damaging ones. Paulie gave it a good go with his activity.
The game plan is clear. Whenever Paulie goes to the body with his left, counter him over the top with the right. And he's landing it very clean.
Any of you boys giving away your scores for that round?
I know it'll be revealed after this round.
Yeah, no worries. I think what we'll do after this is we'll compare both your scorecards next to each other. How about that?
Sounds good.
It works.
I like to be a little bit of a man of mystery. See if they have share the same taste in trunks.
Ah, yep. With the tassels.
Indeed. I like that color of Broner's shoes. Kind of reminds me of something. Yeah, we need to see more of that of Paulie.
Boz says that gold beats white in terms of trunk colour.
Oh, hey, that was probably one of the cleaner punches we've seen from Paulie in multiple rounds.
Doesn't want to get stuck on them ropes, so. That's a nice shot again.
I do think that Paulie, even at this stage, It was a good test for Broner, especially jumping 2 weight classes at 147,
Hmm.
because he still had, a little something there in the tank.
It was a very calculated risk
Yeah.
going up against a non-puncher. Nice right hand.
And it can also give you that false sense of, of feeling yourself and your power and what you can do at the weight as well. You know,
Broner was definitely bullying everybody
Yeah.
coming into this match. It's been one of the closer rounds since probably about round 4.
yeah, I'd say so.
That might have just swayed things, but I agree it was a tricky one to score up until this point.
That was a
You
good
know?
combination.
Paulie's turned him, unleash hell.
First time
And
I've
then,
seen Broner with his head back on the ropes. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Jim.
no worries.
So you can tell that Broner is feeling very confident right now.
That's a nice little hook at the end as well to finish it off. Very showy. Was it enough to win in the round? And that's round 8. We'll give Zab a little bit of time and then we'll take a pause. Back to us, thank you. Let's have a look then. Let's head back to our group. Alright, the scorecard comparison still works. So, now we've got 2 scorecards on the screen side by side. Big Fish Vega on the left and Josh 86 Boxing on the right hand side. So let's compare. Oh, look at this. Alex has been adding additional
We're not far off
comments.
from each other.
Okay, so yep, they had similar round 1, so they both scored it to Malignaggi, 60-40. They just had differing rounds. I like the additional comments. Alex, this is good. Broner had one very clean jab landed, but Paulie's constant body attack made it a clear round for me. Cool. I won't read all of the comments, but it's useful to have them in place. It's good. And the same again in the second round, you had the same score to the same boxer and the same percentage, and just with a different reason provided. And then you had a difference of opinion in round 3, so that's why it is got the red border. I can't remember whose side was on which.
I'm on the left.
You're on the left, yes. Alex, you scored that one to Broner. Josh to Malignaggi. Pretty close round. That was the significant punch
It
round.
was more activity
And-
based for me.
More activity based for Josh. Perfect, yeah. So that's crystal clear. You had the exact same for round 4, both to Malignaggi 60-40, and he just landed the cleaner and more effective shots. Same again in round 5, he both scored it to Broner. The same reason of landing the more effective shots. Different percentages. Round 6, both scored it to Broner. Same percentage. Slightly different reason. So that was a more dominant round. And that is how it was described by Josh as well. Cool. Round 7, again, same scores. 10-9 to Broner. Same percentage. So you boys are, you're pretty consistent with these percentages. That's pretty cool. Just the different reasons seems to be the most, the differences of opinion. But both equally as valid as each other. And in that last round, round 8, again, 10-9 to Broner. Same reason and slightly different percentages. So overall, just with that one different round of opinions, I Alex on the left, 74-78 to Broner, so that's 6 rounds to 2. And Josh has it slightly closer, 5 rounds to 3, 77-75. And those percentages really aren't too far apart. So we've seen a lot of close rounds, mostly edged towards Broner. So yeah, that's pretty cool, pretty interesting. Nice consistency, boys.
It's interesting that I have one more round for Broner, yet Josh has more of a percentage for Broner.
Yeah, and that that's true. That's true. What was I going to do then? I was going to go back to the group and see just quickly the this one, the overall, just to see if that reflects on the overall. We've got it 6-2, 78-74 to Broner. You know, percentages aren't that far apart. Cool, interesting. So let's get back to the fight. Let's have a look at what the chat's saying as well. Thanks to everyone who is taking part in the chat. I apologise for not coming back to you. I keep forgetting to. Boss says me and Josh almost agree. I think that's always not quite the case. Vega is a Broner man, he says.
Say we might be twins, so.
Beagle says this is really helpful as I learn how to score. Well, that's cool, man. I think we all learn to score in these sessions, not just you.
Yeah, we need some actual judges as well who should come on and learn a bit as well.
Shout out, well, let's go roll down.
Yeah, man, that is something I've kind of considered whether could approach some actual official judges, but if they'd be interested in coming on and doing this with us. Whether they want to or they're allowed to is another matter.
Starting last round, I feel like Paulie's energy started to come back up because it definitely seemed like it was sapping on those previous rounds.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think some of those bigger shots being landed by Broner, he was feeling them a little bit.
Yeah, if he's to win, he's going to need more activity without a doubt.
I'm not going to lie, every time Broner lands one of those beautiful counter right.
Oh, Alex, you just cut out there, mate. I think you might be having some connection issues. Hopefully it doesn't affect you watching the fight too much. Oh, that's a nice little combination there by Paulie. Broner walked onto one.
It worked down inside.
Those are, wow, there goes that right uppercut again.
Yeah, he
Just
landed
so
it again.
Sneaky.
Yeah, he's slipping those in right in between his offense.
Oh, and again. Yeah, I kind of feel bad because Paulie's done so much good work in this round. You know, he's been busy, he's been landing some nice shots, but then Broner just picks his shots so nicely. They look so good. They're clearly more damaging.
I mean, look at that. He just landed 4 punches
Oh.
and Broner lands 3 clean ones.
Yeah, they have the flash and head snaps going.
Yeah, just landed one straight right on his nose and it looked like proper stinger right at the end. Oh, let's listen to what Money Mayweather's got to say.
I don't know what, Paulie or Adrian was saying, but both are very, very good fighters. I'm happy to be here and just enjoying boxing tonight.
What's it like for you to have a guy like Adrian? You're his role model, and he has patterned basically his entire boxing life after you.
Adrian Broner is truly amazing. You know, he's the future of boxing. And Paulie is a true champion.
The future of boxing.
He's done the unthinkable. A lot of people didn't think he could become world champion. He's two-time world champion at 140 and 147. And I'm proud of Paulie. And of course, Adrian Broner is my little brother. And like I said before, both of these guys are great.
How do you see the fight so far? Is it like watching a part of yourself?
A young Floyd Mayweather. What else can I say? You know, a great fight tonight.
Floyd, great to see you. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, Boz says now it's even for sure. 86 each, or maybe 86, 85 Broner. So for sure, but then maybe a different. Make your mind up, Boz.
Continue to watch and learn, boss.
Right now, you're watching action from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Paulie Malignaggi
Let me turn that volume down a little bit.
title against Adrian Broner in what has been a terrific.
Mentioned that there's been 10 rounds once in his career. Never been past this point. But obviously, he's the pressure fighter now because Malignaggi is taking so much punishment.
But Malignaggi continues to throw punches and bunches.
He has been very active, and even in the last round, Malignaggi threw a lot of punches. But Broner's landing.
That's a nice jab.
That was interesting. They both seemed stuck for a second, unsure of what to do. So Paulie just took the lead. When I was watching, I was just thinking, like, there's been small little adjustments, but nothing big, nothing like, you're not really seeing Paulie trying to push him back. Or like I said, there's no one's trying to give any side-to-side movement. It's just one person coming and just reactions.
Yeah, I mean, every round has gone pretty much the same, hasn't it? That Broner stalking, Paulie kind of going backwards and throwing. Broner landing some flashy shots. And wowzers all.
Yeah, and I guess kind of giving Broner's little modified shoulder roll, turtle wing style, it's been hard for Paulie to land anything with any snap to his head. So when you're thinking about it from the judge's standpoint, when they're seeing any head snapping shots, it's pretty much all coming from Broner.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
agree.
Like, it just has to be Paulie just can't give him side-to-side movement. Because, I mean, it's just obvious being in there.
Yeah, you're right. 'Cause, Broner in himself, he's pretty much just walking forward,
Look at this now. That's almost taunting him, like, yeah, I'm on the ropes and you can't hurt me. Some nice uppercuts in there.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
a huge one.
Every time I want to give Paulie a round.
Yeah. Out of sympathy. And that's 2 in a row now where it's gone like that, where Paulie's kind of doing enough, and then Broner just does something at the end to go, nope, it's mine.
Landing it, and there you see him doubling on it and then trying to get that right hand in. It was a much better round for Malignaggi. That's going to suggest that Broner didn't have his moments. He was pushing Malignaggi against the ropes, but then Malignaggi would counterpunch off those ropes. Not monstrous punches, but a couple of them getting in. And that told the story of this round. A comeback.
See, that was good work there in that replay.
I mean, that's, like I said, that's 2 rounds in a row for me where Paulie, he did some good stuff, and he probably did more of it, but Broner just landed those nice, crisp, eye-catching combinations. So
We are in the championship rounds.
round 11.
Kind of flown by, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually been less controversial than I thought.
Yes, definitely. You know what? It was really, I think the build up to the fight, there was talks about side pieces
Yeah.
and it was a lot of tension built up.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't know if Malignaggi has the energy to do that, though. That's the question. Yeah, he seems to be kind of worn out because of the pressure on his shoulder.
More of this nonsense going on.
Nothing has, like I said, nothing's been professional to the whole build up to this point. There's 11,461 in attendance. To put that in perspective, I believe there was 20,000 for Tank's fight against Rolly here.
Okay.
Only 48% of his punches were in show stats, and that is his hallmark. He's a very accurate puncher. Don't forget, by following us on tournament show stats, you can see instantaneous punch statistics are
Guess Broner was more love or hate. Hurts a lot of people the wrong way.
This actually was the second most viewed Showtime Championship boxing fight in I think their history since 2009. 1.3 million people viewed this fight here in the
Okay,
U.S.
that's good.
Oh wow.
That's a good number then.
Yeah, that is definitely.
So not quite the in-person attendance, but a lot of eyes on the TV.
Yeah, Broner has definitely been able to generate viewers.
Hence, that's why he's probably still around.
I know.
this
I know.
stage.
He's gonna be headlining something else.
9 years later.
We actually forgot to say that at the top of this, that the reason why we're covering this fight is because Broner is fighting next weekend. That is the link.
Hard to think at this point, or at least if we go back to this particular fight and the immediate aftermath, it's hard to think that this would turn out to be one of, if not Broner's best win, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. Was that more of the same?
Absolutely. Third round in a row.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Exactly the same.
Beagle says this is a good fight, lives up to the hype. Boz is saying Baby Bull Diaz versus Paulie was more controversial first fight. Okay. Maybe we can look into that one for a future stream.
Yes, Baby Bull. That is definitely one I did want to go over. But it's I think it's either beginning, like first quarter of the year or the last quarter.
Right, okay. Yeah, we do try and tie in the fights that we score with some kind of anniversary, or if the boxer is having an upcoming fight, such as Broner in this one.
But trust me, I am scouring the internet trying to find the best matches for, like you said, matches update. You know, this one's the first time I think we did an upcoming fight, so.
Yeah, we have stuck to general anniversaries of fights so far, but that's absolutely fine. As long as the fights are fun and interesting. And I put trust in you, Alex, to find us some of the best ones. So that's great work. Thank you.
I know, thank you for the opportunity. It's fun. I enjoy this.
Good man. So as Josh was alluding to before, it's not quite as controversial as maybe we anticipated. I've got this kind of Broner running away with it now at this stage. Maybe we've been harsh on Paulie, like we suggested the last 3 rounds. You could see maybe the judges liked a busier fighter and they'd award him the rounds, but yeah. So definitely on the front foot again now, Broner, taking the fight to Paulie.
Yeah.
Finishing in style. Maybe he wants a stoppage.
It hasn't been really anything that has really put Paulie in, you know, a bit of a blender, but you can see the shots have been affecting him.
Yeah, I think it's not really that clear on this video, but looks like Paulie's face is started. You know, it's marking up quite a bit. Broner just looks like he's doing a workout in the gym. But I guess Paulie never really damaged that many people too badly. Well, that's a nice body shot.
In Paulie's last fight, you could kind of see he was slowing down. He faced Pablo Cesar Cano, who's more of like a puncher, and that was a close split decision win. While in the previous fight against Lora, he was using his feet and was jabbing beautifully. So definitely, you know, those miles started getting up there as well as the age. And this is not the same guy from a year before this fight.
Yeah, I remember both of those.
He'd had a couple of losses at this point. I'd named it 2 or 3 losses.
Yes, 4. He
Oh,
lost
4.
to Ricky Hatton, Amir Khan, Miguel Cotto.
So yeah, remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Buzz is just.
And those were
posted that.
definitive losses.
Yeah. I kind of glossed over that round a bit. Paulie was more busier. I'm going with that. Maybe that's a sympathy point.
I feel that way about the previous round, but
Okay, so if you have scored along with us, you can press your complete scorecard button at the bottom. And then you can fill out whether there was a stoppage, which there wasn't in this case. You can tweet out your score if you really want to, or you can hit save, and then that will be saved in your account. And if you've scored the fight as a guest user, I think it will ask you if you want to register. And please do, it's worth it. So we'll get the scores, we'll listen to that, and then we'll take a look at the analysis for the last 4 rounds. Boz has got himself a couple of scores. He's got 115, 114. Broner would be his primary, and his second would be 115, 113. Maybe this is what judges need. Just do 2.
Oh, you guys don't like that score? I got a backup.
Yeah, how about this one then? Beagle's got it pretty close as well, 115, 113 to Broner, some very close rounds.
yeah,
So
so
I've
it turned out to be a little bit closer than I thought it would, as we were there on the back half of the fight.
I've got it a lot wider than everyone else. I've got it 9 rounds to 3, 117, 111. But, you know, there are rounds in there which they could really have gone to Malignaggi.
You know, when I
Mine-
first watched it, I had it 7-5, and it's a lot different this time.
Mine is linked with the majority there. 115, 113.
Okay. Excuse me.
Oh, wow.
What's that? The rings.
So the New York Athletic Commission here has asked everybody who doesn't have to be in here, which they shouldn't be anyway, to
Just
please
had
get
the
on
ring
this ring.
collapse.
I'm now
right, okay.
standing on the top of this, and literally it is almost like walking and going on the Spanish Peaks or in the Rocky Mountains, and then you climb on down. If you were to throw a punch in the center,
Is this going to delay the announcing of the scores?
down on the other side, it was downhill. It's a dangerous situation right now, and as you can see, Broner's moved away, and Paulie and those guys have not yet.
Dangerous situation. Okay, let's move it on a bit. There
Here
we
we
go.
go.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, We have a split decision. Here
What?
are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Glenn Feldman scores about 115 to 113 in favor of Adrian Broner. Judge
Fair.
Tom Miller sees it 115 to 113 in favor of Paulie Malignaggi.
Don't know how.
And judge at ringside, Tom Shrek sees it 117 to 111 in favor of the winner and the new WBA welterweight champion of the world, Adrian.
Well, the right one, man won at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't leave from that fight thinking Paulie won for sure.
Alright. Oh, that's ended the
It gets interesting.
ended the video.
Jack?
Sweet. Okay, that was cool. Let's just get some music.
Did
on
anyone
again.
have it for Paulie?
I don't believe
Yeah.
so.
If you do, you will be removed. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, I'm just trying to get up our scores back to the group. Okay, so on the stream screen you should be able to see all of our cards there, all next to each other. So me and Alex got the same score in the end.
Looks like
One.
two of us know what we're talking about. The other two, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I agree. Some nonsense being thrown about there. No, man. In fact, that is actually quite interesting. You know, two of us had it pretty close, similar to the judges. Two of us had it pretty wide, really. And then those in the chat, Boz and Beagle, who've been posting their scores, also had it relatively close. So, Alex, maybe we don't know what we're talking about, mate. Yeah, pretty interesting. Let's have a look at the last 4 rounds in the analysis, more in-depth analysis. So round 9 this is collectively our scores, by the way, as a group. 10-9 to Broner, 56.25% winning margin. It looks like every one of us had Broner winning that one, 100% of the users. And the main reason was that he landed the cleaner, more effective shots. And there was a significant punch thrown in there as well. Round 10, close. So that's more of an even round. Is that how it comes across on the average scorecard? We'll check that out after this. Again, Broner with the slight winning margin in his favour. 50%. So 2 of us scored it for Paulie, 2 of us scored it for Broner. And then, you know, that tells the tale of that round. Malignaggi was more active and landing the cleaner shots, or Broner was landing a significant shot. Round 11 might have been similar, so it looks like 3 of us scored that one to Broner, the other person scored it to Paulie, so Broner has 9.8 average. You know, again, a pretty close round. And there is no reasons breakdown for Broner for some reason on that one. So we will never know.
It was just that obvious.
It was that obvious. We don't even need to report it. If you're really interested, you could just go into each person's scorecard and look at it yourself. It looks like an even round pretty much on round 12 as well. 50-50. And it must be some dodgy code by yours truly for the graph not showing up. Let's go into the combined scorecard then. And we'll scroll down to them last 4. So yeah, we've got a couple of 10-10 rounds here, especially for you, Josh. That's 2 even, 2 to Malignaggi, 8 to Broner on the combined scorecard, so that makes it even wider. I suppose if you give those 2 close rounds to Malignaggi, that's 6-4. Yeah, and then 116 to 112. that'd be reasonable.
Absolutely. I think anywhere between 7-5 to what we have the correct scorecards 9-3 is definitely possible.
Yeah, let's have a look at what some of the people in the chat are saying then. Alan B Hop got it 1-1-5 1-13 2 says Boz. Came close to a draw. Great score, says Josh to Beagle. You two need to go back to boxing school. I guess that's me and Alex. Thanks, Boz. Maybe you can teach us someday. Beagle says he feels good that he was in the ballpark. Yeah, I think you were more in the ballpark than me and Alex. Maybe we were a bit unfair. Alex is feeling sick for those 2 even rounds, but that's just what the statistics say, mate. Can't do anything about that. That's just it's just maths, man. You can't mess with maths.
Without a doubt.
7-5 is easy to come to with this fight. I agree. I think 7-5 is probably about there or thereabouts. It was a good fight. That interesting watch. It was certainly controversial with being a split decision. I think we collectively can only really see Broner being the actual winner of that fight. Put you on the spot a bit there, Alex. Do you know which judge awarded that card to Malignaggi? Did you look into that one?
The one that gave it to Malignaggi, I believe, was Steve Morrow, who, definitely have came across him before.
Okay.
Yeah.
With some bad scores, or just in general?
Now you're squeezing me here.
No worries.
He's been around. He's done a lot of high-profile fights, I would say.
Okay. Maybe in future we'll kind of
Can't
have
say all of them were bad, but there are some individuals we can say, they are routinely scoring some bad scores for sure.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I'm sorry, Josh, but
Oh no, go ahead. You good?
for the Danny Garcia fight, it was a majority decision, and I think that was clear.
That
and
was
Valeska Roldan, and that is she gave Jeff Horn the 117-111 scorecard against Manny Pacquiao.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good reminder. I mean, how she even conceived the fight of being that close is just mind-boggling, because there was not a definitively clear round that was a win for Benavidez in that fight, and Garcia pretty much just dominated him. So that's crazy. Some of these judges, man, I don't know.
Yeah, some of them have form for it, like you say. So, anyway, that was good. That was interesting. Thank you everyone who also took part and joined in. Useful to get your scores on the system as well, and it gets involved with the analysis. So that's pretty cool. We can move on then to having a bit of a talk about the upcoming boxing in the next couple of weeks. There's some really big fights coming up. Let's start with... Well, might as well start with Adrian Broner since we've just been watching him. That one makes sense to me. Let me get that up onto BoxRec and we can talk through it. So, is that the next weekend? Oh no, this sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Is a card next weekend to discuss? Yes, Teofimo Lopez versus Pedro Campa. Let me just get that up on screen so people know what the hell we're talking about.
Might as well be a TBA.
Might as well be a TBA. Yeah. Hey, tell you what, he's got a pretty good-looking record though. 34-1 and 1 draw. Alex, give us your thoughts on Teofimo, this fight. Who's going to win? Go for it.
Yeah, so it's the return of Teofimo since his upset loss to George Kambosos. He was this nice, strong, athletic power puncher. I remember him on Heisman night against, I believe it might have been Mason Menard, doing that beautiful one-punch knockout. Doing the, what is that game all the kids play? Fortnite celebrations. That's how my son became a fan of him, because getting the knockout over Richard Comey, and then the Lomachenko fight, being able to squeeze that one out. It was a rise. And then with that one loss, it seemed with all the, I don't want to call them excuses, but with the challenges that may have been self-inflicted as well as some other things. We're on the road back to everything. So this will be his debut at 140, which is many see as a deep division. And we have Pedro Campa, who has fought no one that anyone probably could recognize except for Aaron Herrera, which was a victory, but he was knocked out by a journeyman. I think it was David Jimenez that was like 10-8. So we don't know anything about him. I'll tell you this, a link to Adrian Broner. When Broner was coming back, I believe last year, Pedro Campa was the rumored opponent. So, yeah, we'll see what Teofimo does. I want to see a quick, maybe, I wouldn't say too quick. Maybe it would be nice to get him a few rounds and maybe finish it in the mid rounds. No later than 6, though.
Okay, cool. I'll just have a quick scan through Campa's record. It looks like it's one of those made in Mexico records, so I'll take that as you will. Josh, have you got anything to add on that one? Your prediction as well?
I had to look at Campa's record because he wasn't ringing the bells. But Aaron Herrera, that name did stand out, and I see he got that win in his only fight other than this one outside of Mexico. But I think this is more so going to be a showcase for Teofimo Lopez. We're going to see where his head's at, and if he's ready to make a splash. Now, is this happening at 140? I think it is happening at 140, right? Just double checking.
That is correct.
Yeah, so we'll see how he looks here with his 140-pound debut and see if he can get his name back in the hat with those top guys there. And I think that this bodes well for 140 because 135 is a pretty solid division, and 140 has been solid for a good while now. And adding names like Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia to the mix, I think that just bolsters it a bit more. So hopefully we can see Teofimo in with one of those top 10 guys at some point.
Yep, let's. I think it's just a case of getting this one out of the way, isn't it? And then going from there, seeing what's next for Teofimo. All right then, let's continue on. I've lost my sheet. That doesn't help things. There we go. Okay. So that's the only thing I've got listed for next weekend. I'm not sure if you guys have taken a look and if I've missed anything. Please bring that up now, but if not, we can move on to the following weekend, and we will go back to Adrian Broner. He fights against Omar Figueroa Jr. It is in Florida. It is the main event. It's on Showtime. It is for the WBC Silver Super Lightweight title, which is incredible. Figueroa's coming off 2 back-to-back losses. One being against Ugas and Abel Ramos, the latest one. So he's not had a win since the start of 2019 against John Molina Jr. And Adrian Broner, he's got an up and down record, hasn't he, for the last couple of years. Lost to Pacquiao in 2019. He had a draw before that against Jesse Vargas. Lost to Mikey Garcia before that. He's had a win against Giovanni Santiago. That was in February 2021, so a long time out. What do you make of this one, Josh? Is this the last of Adrian Broner, or is it going to spark into life?
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but when this fight was announced, I was thinking it was the battle of the has-beens, and it should be opening up the prelims prior to a main card, actually. But I think that we would be doing ourselves a disservice to think that this fight is going to deliver. But stranger things have happened in the sport. I'm glad that both of them are at least getting back in the ring. Figueroa seems to be in a good place. Of course, he's had some rocky last couple of years, especially as it relates to what he was doing in the sport. So I think this is going to be pretty telling. If this were WWE, this would be a loser goes away match. But good luck to both of them.
Yeah, man. Anything to add, Alex?
if it wasn't obvious, I am an Adrian Broner fan, but I can't disagree with anything he said.
It is obvious.
Yeah.
You had a disgraceful scorecard. So biased against Paulie.
Hey man, Broner, like I said, we're possibly brothers, so I had to show support. But yes, if anyone remembers in the unforgettable fight of the return of Broner against that Santiago individual, it was a horrible fight. Some seen as controversial. I don't suspect that we will come across it on this stream. I tell you that.
Hope not.
But yeah, I think it is kind of like a loser goes away. These gentlemen were rumored to fight, believe maybe 3-4 years ago, and Omar had to pull out. He's had a lot of hand injuries, and he both of them have had documented bouts with mental what do they call it? I guess mental depression and other things, right? So I'm looking forward to it because I am a Broner fan, and I am not a fan of Omar Figueroa. So
Okay.
if you want to guess which way I want to go with, I think it's pretty obvious. I want to see AB back. I think he's good for boxing. We need more personalities as him. Maybe not see them as role models. However, we just seen Blair the Flair Cobbs make his return, and heels are good. We have heroes and heels. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And you see, it's actually a pretty decent card. We have the return of Evan Holyfield. He's rematching the gentleman that knocked him out on the Triller card. Lipinets is on there. His gym mate Rasheed Warren. Lanier Perro, I seen him fight on Hollywood. He's a Cuban heavyweight. It was a great battle. So yeah, there's definitely, and then you see the 2 title fights. So good card.
Yeah, man. You can touch on them if you want to briefly. I'm really not familiar with these names. I can see an Akhmedov, which sounds like an Uzbek type. Uzbekistan. So
yeah, he fought Mario Barrios.
Yeah,
Barrios got the tanked fight.
Lost in 2019, but maybe a capable.
I thought he deserved to win in that fight against Barrios.
Okay, so maybe a controversial one then.
Yeah,
so,
most definitely.
So he's going to be a tough night's work. So he's in against Alberto Puello. From the Dominican Republic.
Puello. He actually has a win over Ismael Barrasso, I believe his name is, who's on the undercard. The winner of this fight is going to be due to fight Barrasso. I think that's his name. But yeah, so it
says it's for the
super lightweight.
Yeah, the vacant title it says,
which was just vacated by Josh Taylor.
I'm
looking at this as a possible future opponent for Tank Davis, to be honest. I think he probably could take care of both of them with maybe just a little bit of a obvious size issue, but we've seen him deal with that. He finds his shots and lands them, and people usually take a nap in the ring.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying it's not bad. In terms of, as you mentioned, Vega, some of the names on the undercard here. I know that Lamont Roach wants the winner of Gutierrez versus Garcia.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and mention that one?
That's really all I had to say. That Lamont Roach wants to fight them.
Oh, sorry.
Sure
I made a mistake. Akhmedov is the one that beat Ismael Barrasso, so apologies for that.
Okay.
But in the other matchup, you see Hector Luis Garcia. He defeated Chris Colberg. Roger Gutierrez.
I remember that.
He had 2 wins over one of the Alvarado twins, and I think it's Renee.
Yep, that's correct.
So this fight actually was due to take place in Venezuela, but that event fell through, so now it's on a Adrian Broner undercard over here in Hollywood, Florida. I'm hoping to make it. I will do everything I can, but if not, I'll definitely be watching. Interested in every fight that is broadcasted that night.
Cool, man. All right, sweet. That covers that event then. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go on to the biggie. So it's the Joshua versus Usyk rematch. I should probably say Usyk versus Joshua, since Usyk's the champ. Let me just get that up onto the correct screen. And this one's quite a stacked card as well. It's over in Saudi Arabia. It's where the money is, man. I say it's quite a stacked card. There's a lot of names on there, British names, up and comers, and some kind of been around for a while. But yeah, let's start with the main event. It's for all of the titles. It's Usyk defending the titles. He beat Joshua 4. It's the rematch. How do you see this one going? Go for it, Alex. You have first say.
Oh man, I am actually a huge Anthony Joshua fan. I like what he seems to be outside the ring, and I really like what I see inside. However, that first fight, Usyk, he really showed, that boxing ability. It was a beautiful sight to see him just moving around the ring, throwing those 1-2s. Now, I think what gets lost is Joshua was landing some very nice straight right hands, and he kind of went away from it towards the back end. Can the new trainer Robert Garcia, capitalize off of that, help set it up a little bit better? Because he just started throwing it a little bit empty, not really, with good timing or from the right distance at times as well. Man, I don't want to pick a winner. I think it's just hard with the way Usyk kind of, finished that fight. It's hard to go against him. But you know what? I'm going to stick with my heart. I have Anthony Joshua, who has done it before, will get his revenge, and will win a close, unanimous decision. Let's go.
Okay. When you just said you didn't want to pick a winner, then I thought you were going to sit on the fence, and I was going to say no. You've got to pick a winner because you were boasting before about all of these winning picks. So
You're right.
yeah, good, good. You got Joshua. Okay, cool. Josh, what are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Vega pretty much highlighted all of the key points.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone against Joshua in any of his fights thus far, but for this one, I do lean towards Usyk. I believe that he's going to be better this time around, just as I believe Joshua is going to be better this time around. So it'll be close, I'm sure. But I know leading into that last fight, I thought that Joshua would bully him and his power would be the difference. It turned out to not be the case. And I do think that Usyk has gone about his transformation and that move to heavyweight in a proper manner. And he looks good at the weight in the division now. Of course, he's champ now. So I'm just going to have to lean towards the champ in this one if I had to make a definitive pick. And I think it would be a decision or something of that nature.
Yeah.
But I've always said that Joshua, if he chooses to use his power and be a bully there in the ring, then that can certainly change things in an instant. Absolutely.
He's got that huge power that's, he's always going to be there and be a threat right till the end. So for me personally, I actually thought the first fight where I picked Usyk to win that, I thought he was going to be able to outbox Joshua and nullify him, which he, inevitably that's what he did. And I think I'm going to stick with that this time round as well. I'm going to go with Usyk. But there is a lot of factors which could really sway it. Josh was just saying he looks good and at the weight, and I saw a very, very brief clip on Twitter a while ago which showed him in training. It looked like he was like physically he looks in really good shape. He looks bigger than previously seen him, and like a defined physique. So if he's been really working hard and bulking up and whatnot, whether that'll slow him down and be a problem is one question. There's obviously the whole Ukraine situation, which could potentially have some effect on how his camp's been and where his mind's at. But it could also go the other way, where it inspires him to be, even better than he was the first time round and win the fight for his country that's in war. So there's also that factor. And then on Joshua's side, he's saying all the right things about wanting to to get the titles back, and he's like, you've said that he's done it before. Alex, you mentioned that he's done it before, where he avenges his loss. Whether he can do it again this time, I'm not too sure. I think Usyk is just fundamentally a better boxer than him, and as long as he can keep away from that huge power and those shots, which he could always walk onto one and it could be over. But yeah, I'm gonna go with a Usyk decision. And what that means for Joshua afterwards, I'm not too sure. What do you guys think if he was to lose this fight? Alex, what do you think?
There's only one fight I want to see, and that is Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder anywhere in the world. Point blank period.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Would you like to see that, Josh, and anything else?
Yeah, that's exactly the fight I was gonna say. I would think that it would make the most sense. All roads would lead to that if if Joshua were to lose this fight. Why not? Let's make it happen.
Man, I'd love that as well. I think that was always the most exciting fight in heavyweight boxing for years. And it was just a big shame it didn't happen when it was first being touted, when they were both undefeated, both the biggest punchers for a long time. That would have been explosive, man. Would it be any closer to being made now when there's guess less on the line? They'd be making a lot less money than they would have done back then. I don't know.
I think, yeah, as long as those they're looking at what, maybe 9-figure paydays, they'll be there. Which I think it's really possible, honestly.
Yeah.
Imagine Saudi Arabia picks it up. I mean, that's going to be a huge global event. 2 former Olympic boxers, former world champions, and it's going to end with one of them being counted out or not being able to get up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that at one point I viewed this as the biggest fight in boxing. Of course, that has shifted a little bit, but it's still a huge fight for sure.
Definitely, and it shifted because of Tyson Fury, mainly. And again, speaking of where Joshua could go, is that fight is always kind of on the cards potentially, regardless of the outcome of this fight. All of the UK want to see Joshua versus Fury. Obviously, Fury said he's retired. Whether that is actually the case, because there's always been rumblings that he wants to come back, and AJ versus Fury would make mega money. So there's always options for Joshua. But does he just if he suffers this loss, does his pride take a bit of a dent, and he goes, you know what, I'm just gonna bow out. I've made my money. I've done what 99% of heavyweight boxers can never do. It's still a good career. Guess what? It remains to be seen. We just got to wait a couple more weeks, and then we'll see what happens. It's a great fight. Looking forward to it. And there's plenty on the card as well, which we can move along to. I can see that Callum Smith is having another outing. I'm not too sure of his opponent. We'll click into his name in a second, but we'll just have a quick look at Callum Smith. He's been a bit inactive in recent years since the loss to Canelo. That was back in 2020. Looks like December. He had one fight last year.
And caught a body in there. One of the best knockouts you'll see.
Yeah. I'm actually struggling to remember that. What card it was on. It was at the Tottenham Stadium. Was that on Joshua's? Yeah. The first fight.
So.
Yeah, it was. So Callum Smith going on the undercard of Anthony Joshua, it seems that's what he's destined to do for the rest of his career. He's in with, I'm not even going to pronounce this name, but he's a French guy. He's 33. A Frenchman. We'll just say that. He's 33 years old. He's got a nice looking record, 21 wins, 1 loss, which was a stoppage loss. Scrolling against someone in France. He's fought in France only, so a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm guessing that Callum will be expected to just get the job done and hopefully put him back into some kind of fringe world level contention at light heavyweight. It's quite a fun division in the UK scene. So whether he'll be in with the likes of Yard and Boatsi and Craig Richards and Lyndon Arthur, or whether he'll kind of linger around for some of the more world level fighters. There was also the John Ryder controversial decision from a few years ago, whether that could be a rematch.
We got to put that on our list.
Yeah, man, that's a good shout. Want to keep a reminder of. Okay, so let's have a look what else was on there. Excuse me.
I'd just say I'm looking forward to Callum Smith. I think he's a good fighter. He got a bad rep after that Canelo fight, but generally, yeah, he's a guy who, he's exciting to watch for the majority of the fights that I've seen from him. I think that was a big moment for him, but he's a very good fighter, so I'm looking forward to the potential matchups at 175 once he's in the mix with some of the bigger names.
Yeah, he did have quite a lot of hype around him quite a few years back when he was coming up, and he's part of that Smith family. There's Paul Smith,
brothers.
Callum Smith, and
Stephen, I think. Stephen.
Possibly.
Liam.
And Liam Smith, yeah, sorry. That's who I was trying to remember. And people kind of suggested Callum was the best of the bunch. And obviously he's had a good career so far, and then the decision to win the controversial one kind of dented his credibility slightly, and then he went in as a bit of a sacrificial lamb to Canelo. But so yeah, how old is he now? He's 32, so he's probably got a couple of years left in him. It's just all about whether he's got the hunger and desire to kind of get back up to that world level. But as you say, he's an exciting fighter, so he should be a good watch along the way.
Like to see
so
him
many
with,
good domestic scraps.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I like to see him with Zurdo Ramirez. I like to see Zurdo Ramirez with a lot of guys, but I just think given his size, because both of them are pretty much around the same height and everything, so I think that would be a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Very good shout. Okay. There's also then, we'll move on. Filip Hrgović against Zhilei Zhang. Was this scheduled for earlier in the year and then got delayed, I believe?
Yes.
So the
I believe
final
on the Bivol Canelo card.
Okay.
Yeah, that is correct. And I will say that this is the fight I'm most looking forward to. Zhang Zhilei, I actually did a video on him, I think it was like a year ago, called it The Curious Case of Zhang Zhilei, but I think I was calling him Zhang Zhilei at that particular time.
Okay.
You weren't the only one.
But I'm most looking forward to this one because I think it has big implications in terms of what's next for both of these guys. And for Zhang Zhilei, he's a decorated amateur. Hrgović, same, but for Zhilei, he's now 38 or 39.
It says 39 here on Boxer.
Okay, so 39. So the clock is ticking, and
Absolutely.
he seems to be in his best form at this very moment. So if he were to win this, then another big fight, I think, would be the main thing on the card for him. As far as Hrgović, of course, we've seen how he's blasted through a number of guys, and his name has been constantly tossed out there as far as the top prospects in the heavyweight division, potential for who's got next and all that stuff. So I think big implications for both. Both of them have big time power, from what I can tell.
Yep.
As far as picking a winner, it's hard for me. I would have to, I guess, lean towards the youth of Hrgović. Maybe that sees him through, but I think both of them could end this fight at any moment for sure.
Yeah. Your thoughts on this one, Alex?
Yeah, so I learned the Z's are pronounced as J's, and it's never left me. So that's how I was able to get that right.
But there's also the order, isn't there? You don't know whether to say the last name first, the first name last.
Yeah.
It's always confusing.
I have seen it reversed. But yes, Hrgović, I think he's a sharper fighter. Like you said, he's the more youthful one. I just have to go Hrgović. I think it's going to be clear as day. Once we get past, if it goes past a couple rounds, I think Hrgović will just take over. But Zhilei Zhang, man, I was there for the Jerry Forrest fight.
Okay.
And that was a fun fight.
Yeah, it was.
Thank God, his gas tank went out because he was beating the crap out of Jerry. But yeah, I do look forward to it as well. I wanted to see it just because I'm in a community with a couple Zhilei Zhang fans, and I'm ready for their support to kind of fade away.
That's my memory of Zhang is that Jerry Forrest fight. I've not really seen much of him before or since then. I might have caught the Alexander fight, actually. Highlights, probably. But yeah, he was a name that was always been kind of lingering around over the last few years as kind of the man to be wary of for the heavyweight division. A huge guy from China that's going to be unstoppable, and it never quite materialised. And then that Jerry Forrest fight was one of the weirdest fights I've ever seen. And he gassed so badly, and it was ridiculous, really. So with that in mind, and Hrgović is one of these. Is he a former Olympian, I believe? And I know he's been highly touted as the next big thing for the heavyweight division for what seems like the last 10 years. He's never really got up to this kind of heights of what people suggested he should be at, whether that's through inactivity or injury or just not being able to get the fights. I'm not too sure.
He actually had an interesting Olympic run. He actually defeated Ali Eden Demiresen.
Demiresen, yeah.
Okay.
And then Linear Pero, who I mentioned on the Broner card, and then lost to Tony Yoka, which, if anyone remembers, Tony Yoka was a little bit of controversy for his gold medal in that 2016 run.
Yeah, they seem to be poised for a professional collision as well. But of course, Yoka lost to Bacoli. It could be something that's on the table down the road as well. But I think that would be an interesting one, having that rematch. Definitely.
Well, I think this is an interesting match, like you both said, both explosive. I also favour Hrgović. You always go with youth. So cool. Let's see how that one pans out. I'm looking forward to that fight. That's quite an intriguing one on there. I also see Badu Jack is still loitering around as well.
Yes, he's lingering around there. I think he's fighting at cruiserweight now.
He's fighting at cruiserweight, that is correct. That's what this one is listed down as. So we've got Badu Jack versus Richard Rivera, whose name does not pop out to me. He's American from Connecticut. He's 21-0, 16 knockouts. Do you know this guy, Joshua? Give us your thoughts. Popeye the Sailor Man. Amazing.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't ring a bell right there.
If that alias doesn't ring a bell.
His nickname does for sure. But
about you, Alex? Have you seen this guy before?
No clue. The only thing I can tell you is I seen Badu Jack has been training with Deontay Wilder at the UFC facility, so I'm glad to see that.
Cool, man. I mean, it's so ridiculous. You know,
you know what? I did come across a clip of it. Looked like Wilder with Ngannou or something. I think they were just dapping up. I don't know if they were actually in there sparring or messing around or anything. But interesting.
Okay, well, we'll gloss over Popeye the Sailor Man then. We'll remember that name, but I mean, if he's not making waves with that name and a record, then maybe he's not up to much.
Well, he has the opportunity to make a name for himself with a good display here in this fight against Badu Jack. Absolutely.
Good shout. Okay, there's a bunch of other names on there, one of them being Ben Whittaker, who was out last weekend on the Bournemouth card, who's the Olympian silver medalist, and he had a spectacular showing last weekend on his debut as expected. He looked flashy. I didn't really catch the fight that much, it was on in the background, but I know he looked flashy, and I think he got a pretty spectacular stoppage. I'm not sure if you boys have seen the replay of that. Go on, Josh.
That was on the what card was
it? It was Bill and Smith undercard.
Okay, yeah, I haven't got that one.
Though I have heard him being compared to Roy Jones Jr. with his boxing acumen and possible athleticism.
Okay, well, I have to check him out now.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's got like a unique style. He's quite flashy, and he does look good. But he was in against a 6-5-1 opponent for his first outing, so we're not going to really learn much in his next couple of fights. I don't think they'll just be showcases. and then he'll need to step it up pretty sharpish. And he probably should do. He's got all the ability. He really could be, a big star if he keeps winning. But he is going down the path of playing the villain, a bit like Adrian Broner. He seems to shine in that kind of being a heel role. So whether that'll affect how people see him and whether it affects interest in his fights, or people will just tune in anyway because they want to see him get knocked out. We'll see.
Coached by Sugar Hill.
Yeah, coached by Sugar Hill as well. So yeah, he's got a lot of hype around him. One to keep an eye out for, definitely.
Awesome.
Okay, so I think that
I did see. I will say I did see Andrew Tabiti's name on there. It
Yes.
looks like he's making, I guess, his heavyweight debut. I don't think he was a huge cruiserweight. Of course, he got knocked out by Junior Dorticos in the World Boxing Super Series, the second
okay.
iteration.
Yeah,
But he looked pretty good and pretty promising. So if this is that heavyweight, yeah, I think that'll be interesting.
is that what it was listed down as? I didn't notice that
I
one.
saw heavy listed.
Yeah, heavy. Yeah, that's true. Okay, but unnamed opponent, so wouldn't get too excited about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a pretty decent card, this one.
Yeah.
Cool then. So I think there were just one more card on my sheets for us to go through. If I can find it. It was the Navarrete card from last time. Let me just get that one up. So he's in against Eduardo Baez.
Baez.
You
Yep.
can
I think that's another twin. I know it's two brothers. I think they're twins.
I've just got that up
Or
on the
they-
screen there now. So
They're probably close in age.
I believe Baez fought Ray Vargas before Vargas fought Masayo. That was his 126 debut.
Both action fighters. Both of the Baez brothers are action fighters, so this is going to be an action fight for all indications because we know
Cool.
Navarrete is an action fighter for the most part as well.
all Mexican clash. Yeah, Navarrete then he's 35-1, 29 knockouts. Who was that loss against? Oh, it's really early in his career.
I think, it was
Yeah.
someone would probably want to know.
Yeah, so he's
Okay,
he had a couple
I'm
of
sorry.
wins against Dagbo a few years ago, and then he's just like winning, knockout. He had a decision against Ruben Villa in 2020. 2021, he beat Christopher Diaz by a 12th round stoppage. And then he beat Joet Gonzalez, who we covered last time? Well, two
Yep.
streams ago, possibly. He beat him again in 2021, so this is his first bout in 2022. He's a good fighter, isn't he? Navarrete, always exciting, decent watch. Only 27. Baez is 27 as well. Alex, give us your thoughts on this bout then, on Navarrete. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, I was incorrect actually. Baez fought Alim.
Yeah,
that's who-
Rice,
yeah.
Alim, yeah.
Yeah, and I know Baez comes to fight Navarrete. With his length, his weird punch angles, how he gets in and out of range. It seems like he's going to be a tough matchup. There's been a lot of talks about him fighting Shakur Stevenson, and I can't wait for it because I'm going to show him a little bit of my bias. I am a huge Stevenson fan, and I want him to derail Navarrete's hype. That's how I see it. I think, yeah, I know my my bias is starting to come out this stream, huh?
Yeah.
Can't hide it anymore. But
listen-
yes, I think Navarrete, with his size, he has mastered for these weight, how to use his size and length at these lower weight classes. I think as he moves up in weight, those advantages will start to disappear,
Yeah.
and we will start to see really what kind of fighter he is.
There's
But I
a
do
white
expect
bully.
him to run over Baez. I will not use that term.
All right.
I
then.
believe Baez, his nickname is El Gemelo, which is Spanish for the twin. So
Okay. Spanish lesson as well. Thank you. Josh, did you want to add anything else to that one?
Yeah, I just think it's gonna be an exciting fight. Anytime I've seen the Baez brothers fight, they're generally exciting. You
Hmm.
can see he doesn't get a ton of knockouts offensively, so I think Navarrete is gonna feel comfortable in their
Yeah.
exchanging and everything. So this should be a pretty exciting fight. I expect Navarrete to win, and as Vega mentioned, I would certainly love to see him take on Shakir Stevenson, and I too would favor Shakir Stevenson. I think he's
Hmm.
probably the cream of the crop as far as one between 126 and 135 at the moment. And I think he'll do his thing if he goes 140 as well. So that would be excellent to see Shakir get in there and do his thing against Navarrete, and I think it would be an interesting fight as well. But certainly favor him.
Cool. All right, we'll just touch on the undercard of this then. We've been going over 2 hours now, so we'll wrap things up a little bit. Any of these jump out? I mean, there's a couple of. They'll look good with the numbers. Undefeated contest. So there's Giovanni Santillan, 29-0 against Julio Luna Avila, who is 19-0 but with 2 draws. I'm not sure if any of you two know of these guys.
Off top, I can't think of, but looking at the lineup there, I know the fight that is going to be getting hyped up is Nico Ali Wash.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one they're going to be hyping the mess out of. But yeah, this one, I don't know if I've seen Santiago Muti take it on. It seems like interesting matchup on paper, just looking at the record. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Again,
I don't
it's
know the guy doing
it's
enough
another.
about either.
Sorry to interrupt there. Another kind of American with a pretty big record, but maybe it is padded a bit. Giovanni
Yeah.
Santillan, maybe he's some kind of Italian heritage. How about you, Alex? Have you heard of this guy?
His nickname is the Gold Rooster, so good for him. No, do not know him. The name looks a little bit familiar. I just seen Antonio DeMarco was on his resume, so that's always a good name
Oh,
to
okay.
have.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the name's a little bit recognizable. I know Xavier Martinez. He just lost to Robson Conceição, and was a former
Mhm.
Mayweather fighter. And if I'm not mistaken, I see Luis Alberto Lopez, who was the first one to get to Gabe Flores Jr., who was a big amateur
Oh,
out here
okay.
in the U.S. and also got knocked out Isaac Lowell.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know both of those fights. That's funny. Yeah, Lowe had a little hype over there. I
It's
think
a
he's
Tyson Fury's friend,
Irish
right?
or something. I know he has Tyson Fury in his corner. Or he's a part of
Hey.
his team, or they're connected in some
Mhm.
capacity.
Yeah, I think they're like best friends of some sort.
Yeah.
All right.
Nico Ali Wash, the next iteration of the great Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's an interesting name on there. Antonio Mireles. He's trained by Robert Garcia. He's like 6'9",
Oh wow.
huge
Wow.
heavyweight. Yeah.
6'9", yeah, 25 years old,
Yeah, I
four.
don't know if I've seen him, but
4-4.
that's pretty interesting.
Well, anyone that
6'9".
big, everyone that big's going to be a problem, no doubt.
Yeah.
He was just on a broadcast. Looked a bit slow, but
Mhm.
yeah, definitely doesn't seem like someone fun to fight.
The name Austin Brooks looks familiar. I just can't pinpoint him right now, but I feel like I've seen that name.
It's got a weird mugshot going on there. Austin
On paper,
Warren,
it looks like
Anthony
a good
Brooks.
card. Honestly, you see a lot of O's, see names that we're recognizing, so definitely might want to tune into that one all day long and get a good doses of boxing.
Yeah, it's a good weekend of boxing there, definitely. All right then, I think on that note, it's time to finish up. We've covered a lot there. We had a good fight that we scored.
Yep.
And we will be back in a couple of weekends' time. I think we're into Canelo versus Golovkin season. So they're the fights
I'm
that we
excited.
they're the fights that we are going to cover in our next 2 streams. I'm right with that, aren't I? Yeah, it's definitely them 2 next. So obviously there's going to be a lot of hype around their third fight, and obviously the first 2 fights were hugely controversial. So they will be really good to revisit and score and see how we compare to the official scores and how we thought about it at the time. So we'll definitely discuss that in length next time around. Okay, so I want to say thank you to everyone that's tuned in and contributed in the live chat. It's been great having you involved, and those who also created scorecards and joined the scoring group. For those of you who haven't done that, but you can do so in future, hopefully you can register and join the groups as we score in future episodes, and we look forward to having you back on board. Alex, thanks for joining us again, and thank you for your intro and your work sourcing the fights that we are going to watch and score. People can find you on Twitter. Let them know your handle.
The Vegameister, THEEVEGAMEISTER.
I'm going to change up my screen actually in future, so we've got all of our Twitter usernames on there, so you don't have to keep spelling it out. Josh, thanks for coming on as well, mate. As usual, you are at 86 Boxing, I believe, on Twitter, and you are also on YouTube. People need to subscribe and watch the historical videos that Josh puts out. That's 86 Boxing on YouTube. I think there should be a link in the description, and if not, I will add it. And there's also links to our Twitter in the description as well.
That is correct. Thank you, man. It's always great, linking up with both of you guys. So thanks for sure.
No problem, mate. It's great to have you, and I look forward to our upcoming episodes. In the meantime, take it easy, take care of yourselves and everybody else as well. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Canelo versus Triple G, 2 weeks. Take care.
And